Welcome back to the Slanted Attic Experience. I'm your host, Tyler, and today's episode is a dynamic exploration of culture, creativity, and community through the lens of someone who bridges professional focus with personal passion. My guest this week is Cabell Hill, a 27-year-old vice president and notary at his family's automotive business, the Car Guys. While Cabell's professional background is rooted in the auto industry, his interests stretch far beyond into music, sports, media, and the vibrant local culture of Richmond, Virginia. Whether he's championing RVA's indie music venues, tracking sports stats like a human database, or engaging in lighthearted debates about Star Wars, Cabell brings curiosity, humor, and perspective to every topic. Over the next hour, we dig into Richmond's evolving music scene, the growing collectability and adult market positioning of Lego, and a layered dive into Star Wars lore from expanded universe novels to the cultural resurgence of Boba Fett. We touch on comic book fandom and flea market archaeology, explore the nostalgia of LEGO Star Wars video games, and reflect on our favorite games of all time. Then we pivot into sports, the Colts' 2024 season, the Steelers' historical playoff narrative, and a candid discussion about the increasing corporatization of Major League. We close with a spotlight on Richmond's key music venues, the role of local alternative radio like 102.1, and even a brief detour into the narrative legacy of The Sopranos. As always, new episodes of The Slanted Attic Experience released bi-weekly on Mondays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the occasional surprise episode along the way. You can find everything, including past episodes and social media links at dot.cards/slantedattic. Let's get right into it. Hey, welcome back. We're just going to get right into it. By now, hopefully, most of you know that I do an intro about the guests and have them give a little input, ask them to tell us a little bit about themselves and their interests and whatnot. But Cabells is here joining me today, and we're lucky to have him. Super excited about the conversation. So, without further ado,
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is awesome. My name is Cabell Hill. I'm 27 years old. I'm from the Richmond, Virginia area. I currently live in Hanover now, about 30 minutes outside of Richmond, and I have my own I work on, and I am currently with uh my dad's business. Well, I've been here the last 10 years. I'm a general manager, notary, kind of you do a little bit of it all when you're in a 4 or 5
yeah,
person man business, and it's a
sure.
small business. We actually just moved to Richmond. Thank goodness. We were out in Goochland for the last 10 years, but we just moved last year to Henrico, right off of Staples Mill near the Amtrak
Nice.
station.
Nice. My office is close to there too. It's a like a commercial industrial type area. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of
Yeah,
businesses there.
you know Zach. Oh gosh, you know Zach, Sarah Edgerton's boyfriend. He works in that area as well, right off of
I'm
Edward
not
Holland
sure.
Drive.
Okay, I
But
don't know
it's
where that
it's
is.
yeah, it's near where you're talking about.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's a good space for a business, man. That's exciting. Yeah, I'm sure it was fun moving everything there, moving offices.
No, oh goodness. So we took over this old tow shop. It was called Pico Towing. They
Nice.
have a lot. They have, oh my goodness, they have. You go on their Yelp, they have so many bad reviews as like any tow place does. But the building was, we had to move. We had about 30 or 40, yard containers. Just we had to pack it like 3 different times, full of
Sure.
debris, cleaning out. Oh man, yeah, it was a pain to move in, but we are fully moved in now, and I'm loving it. I don't know if you've been to the Goochland area about in Crozier. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I have not.
Oh gosh, it's in the boonies, and it's
Okay.
it was a good area. We had plenty of property, a lot of area to work on. Like cleaning
Sure.
vehicles off. All the 10 yards, and the problem was just traffic. The traffic was so low out there, and it was a swamp too. So anytime there was like snow, rain, there was
Mm,
always yeah. It's like a few times the cars got stuck in mud, because we try to compact all the vehicles into one place and try to advertise it, and the county was also really just annoying us. Like we had to put
sure.
up to make this work. So we were right off of Route 33, Patterson Avenue, or I'm sorry,
Sure.
Patterson Avenue turns into Route 6, River Road West.
Gotcha.
And this county thought they were Williamsburg pretty much, you know. We had to set up all these different little plants in front of our vehicles right next to the road, and it just makes no sense because I'm trying to sell these vehicles, and they wanted us to put plants and bushes up in front of them and build like a berm, you know,
Uh-huh.
that was about a few
Interesting.
feet tall, and just you know, overall I'm ranting a little bit, but we are really fortunate to be in Henrico now.
No, I get that. Like dealing with the counties, I've experienced, in general contracting,
Yeah.
dealing with Richmond City as opposed to dealing with Henrico County, Chesterfield County. It's
Oh
totally
man.
different, right? Like, so
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
totally get
been
that.
incredible.
Yeah, we love to hear that. Yeah, bro. So, a couple things I wanted to pick your brain about today. I think the two pinnacle topics, I like to say, that's probably the first time I've said that, but I like to say it.
Great word.
Um,
Great golf brand too.
yeah, facts, dude. We talk about golf, but I want to talk about the
Hmm.
Colts and Indianapolis sports, and I want to
Oh
talk about
goodness.
music. Music is another big one
Oh
because I
yeah,
know that,
absolutely. I
I
could.
see a lot of fun stuff, and I have Vincent on here, and he was a really interesting guest as well. So maybe tell me about a recent show you attended. I know the RVA Mag did a poll or whatever. If you can speak about any of those Richmond bands that might be up and coming or people that meet like we as Richmond residents should go see at the various venues that the city of Richmond has to offer.
Oh, and the Richmond music scene. So I've been. What's funny is before COVID, I liked music, but I never went to shows. You know, I went to one music festival in 2015 with two of my other buddies, and
Hmm.
goes for like once a year. And once COVID happened, and so like I said, I work in a small business, so I pretty much just went to work. Went into work. It was about 30-minute drive from where I live to work, and just coming home
Yeah.
and just playing Xbox and literally doing that just constantly. Maybe I trying to improve my cardio the last few years too, and so I run
Yeah.
about a mile. Trying to do a mile a day.
That's a
But
very serious
anyway,
thing, man. Cardiovascular health
yeah,
really is.
absolutely.
Well, I'll let you continue. I just had to poke that in because for everybody out there, like, get up and get your 10,000 steps. It's so important.
Anyway, yeah, I was talking about how I've gotten into the RVA music scene, and so it was just so boring going to work, coming home, that same spiel, and I had been so I have known Vincent since I was in elementary school.
Uh-huh.
But and we had, I always knew him through other friends, and he was like Nolan Thompson. He was
Yep,
really
I
good
met
friends with
Nolan.
Nolan. Yeah, and but our love of music, honestly, he's one of my best friends now, and our love of music, I think, really brought us together. And I met up with him at a music festival in Kentucky, and I met, his girlfriend and a few of her other friends, and they're massive concert goers as well.
Sure.
But like, like since 2021, I've really been going to just a lot of shows. I've probably, if I had just to randomly guess, go to probably, oh goodness, 40, 50 shows a year, maybe
That's
more.
awesome.
That's just,
That's
yeah, just
awesome.
throwing a random number. It's probably more than that because my bank account shows me.
That's so facts, though. I wish it wasn't so expensive. Sometimes,
Yeah,
a free show here
it's
and there.
probably it's the most expensive hobby I have next to video games and Legos.
Legos, you're a Lego guy? Oh, hell yeah,
Massive
dude. I love that.
massive
So
Legos. I have a
tell me
whole
about
shelf of yeah,
tell me
so I
about it. Do you
let
have
me actually go to
do you collect like the minifigures, or is it more of like you build the sets and you like to collect the
Oh, I
sets?
like to
I know
build the
some of the
sets,
minifigs are
and
like really expensive.
yeah, there's this small business in Short Pump called it. I can't remember. It's like All Bricks Minifigs or something like that. I'll Google it later, but it's an incredible shop, and they collect minifigures, and they have. I mean, it's actually insane. I didn't even realize they make these they just make minifigures. They don't even come with sets. Like my friend has
Do you watch Star Wars, or have you watched the Clone Wars show recently,
No,
the
I haven't
animated
seen the
series?
show, dude. All of my buddies rag on me for
It's
that, bro.
a
Like,
yeah,
bro,
it's
it's so
amazing.
fucking good. It's like the
It's
plot and
not
the
a kid show
storyline is
either.
incredible. Yeah, that's what
I
they
have
all tell
seen
me
I've
all the
seen so many war crimes on this dang show, and like
time.
people get murdered, and it's actually like it's serious business. But my friend got this Count Dooku when he was younger. So there's this show called Tales of the Jedi and Tales of
Mhm.
the Empire, and it's about little mini stories about like you know who Count Dooku is from the second and
Of
third
course.
movie,
Yeah.
but it shows him when he was part of the Jedi Council before he left,
Mhm.
and it shows him as younger. He's got a dark, he doesn't have white hair or anything yet. He's got a dark beard and slick haircut, and he's got a blue lightsaber. And my friend got that minifigure. I think it was about 40 or
Yeah.
$50, something like
Yeah.
that, because
That's
it's that
crazy.
rare. But
That's crazy.
personally, I just like, because I like spending money on the sets because the sets they mean more to me. Like
Sure.
I have this Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of the Golden Idol set, and it's just really slick. It's got
Yeah.
the you ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Which one is that? I've seen all of the
The
Indiana
first one.
movies. Yes, of course. Yeah. Is that the temple scene with
Yep,
the gold
right
thing?
out the gate, the first scene, it's
Oh,
got
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, when he finds the other professor that died in there, and he tries to get the
Mhm.
Golden Isle. And but this set is really cool because it has pretty much each scene that happens. It's got Indiana Jones, he's got a bag trying to collect the idol because he's trying to place the sand right as he gets the idol to like counterbalance.
Booby trap. Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't work at all. It's got the boulder. It's interactive.
Oh,
I
that's
will
cool.
say though that, like I said, this is such an expensive piece. I paid 160 or $170 for this set, and I
Mhm.
remember growing up. Obviously, I didn't pay for any of my own sets,
Of
but if
course.
my parents would have never paid for a set like this when I was younger. I
Yeah,
got
dude.
like I had little A-wings. You ever heard of an A-wing? Like from
Yeah, yeah,
Star
yeah, yeah.
Wars, I had an
Of course.
A-wing. I never had the Millennium Falcon set or anything like that. That was just also even too
No,
expensive at the time.
I think the largest one that I had was a TIE fighter. I think I got for like my birthday or
That's a good
Christmas,
one too.
something like that.
Yep,
But my
I
mom
had
got
that
rid of
one.
my Legos, dude, and they were the mini ones too. And I collected a bunch of
It's
shit because,
actually
like I told you,
crazy.
I'm a collector type, man.
Hmm.
So like, I love that kind of stuff. Grace actually got me one for Valentine's Day. She got me Boba Fett. Boba Fett's ship. It's a mini one, so I'm excited to display that
Yep.
on a shelf in here.
I also have that. I have one. I have the one from the Mandalorian when he returns. So I think, I have a Slave One version of this. I
It's
wish my buddy has the original one that's from The Empire Strikes Back that came
oh
out in
really?
'05 or '06. Yeah, he's got that displayed
That's
on his
cool.
coffee table right below. It's like a see-through glass coffee table, so when you're just putting your drinks down or food down, you can always see uh Starship right there. It's really cool.
That is pretty cool. No, we love
But
that.
then they've come out with a few 25th anniversary editions of some Lego sets. So the Star Wars Lego sets now are more just like art pieces,
Right.
honestly. Because
Mhm.
they're trying to sell towards adults, and adults don't, like I don't take my ship and go pow, 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 I
Right,
don't
right,
fly
right.
it through the air anymore. So I just have it on display. So I have the Invisible Hand, which is from the third movie. It's General Grievous's ship. It's the ship that, Anakin and Obi-Wan are trying to land on,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
first
yeah.
10 minutes of the movie that Count Dooku's on. They're trying to save the Chancellor. So I
Mhm.
have that one. This one was, reasonably priced at like $49, but it's just a beautiful piece. And then I have a Commander Cody helmet that you put together because they came out with Luke Skywalker's X-wing helmet. They have a Darth
Mhm.
Vader helmet. They have a Captain Rex helmet, which this is why you definitely need to
I
watch
have
the animated shows.
Captain Rex's
Oh,
plastic helmet.
oh,
Like
that's amazing.
like the it's like a Halloween costume piece. It's just
Yeah,
plastic.
yeah, it's got his kill count on top of it or whatever. It's marked into the helmet, right?
Oh, maybe it's not that one. It might just be a regular clone trooper commander or
Mm.
something. It's got
Yeah,
just
you wouldn't know.
the
You see,
Ringo
this is
thing.
why you need to get into the animated show because Clone Wars animated show have all these great characters. Even though no, Commander Cody is actually in the live action movies, but I have his helmet right here, and then I have Obi-Wan's Jedi starship from the second movie when he goes to Kamino, and
Uh-huh.
then when he goes to Geonosis, it's more of the it's not the Jedi starfighter. I think this is the starship. I don't know
Okay.
what I mean, I know the actual difference looking at it, but it's a starship,
Yeah.
starfighter,
Yeah.
same thing to me. But it's funny that you said your mom threw away all those Legos because man,
Or gave them
all
away
those old
probably.
sets are so expensive.
Yeah.
I bought this Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett set that has him and I can't remember what these little engineer guys were called in Empire Strikes Back, but they were like, midgets and they're the ones who dismantled CP30 or C3PO in the movie.
Is it
I can't remember
not
exactly.
the Jawas? The
They
Jaw
look like they're like smaller white guys with beards.
Oh,
They
yeah,
look
I do remember
alien.
that. Yeah, that's right. I don't know.
So I
Good call.
have this set, but it's Han Solo in a carbon, the carbon freezing
Yeah.
chamber, and it's
Yeah.
right after, he freezes himself. But it's got Boba Fett, it's got the stairs. It's really cool. It's
Yeah.
problem is it's like only a couple hundred pieces, and I ended up paying $70 or $80 just for this set because I'm a big Boba Fett guy. I actually
Mhm.
have this I think the brand of this helmet is called Dark Series. It's
Yeah,
official
yeah,
Star
yeah.
Wars helmets. They came out with a Darth Vader one, a Clone Trooper one, and then I have this one. It's Boba Fett's helmet from Empire Strikes Back, so it has all the scuffs and marks, and it's got the bullet hole indent
Yeah. Yeah.
right there. Yeah, it's just he's one of the coolest characters to never do really anything, and
I
I don't
know.
know why I latched onto him. It's so cool. They actually came out with a documentary on Disney Plus. It's only about 30 minutes, but it just talks about how became like a cult icon. Just like
Sure.
he's just cool as hell, you know?
Sure. I mean, it's totally understandable. Think about his character. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure you can probably speak to this, but a couple of buddies I had in high school were really into the books too, and that had a lot more lore behind the
Yep.
entire, Star Wars itself. But
I watch
anyways,
people read back the comics on YouTube and stuff because, you
yeah.
obviously there's so many comics you have to buy, and just I didn't want to ever buy them. So just watching these YouTubers read them
Yeah.
back, it's just great lore.
Yeah, there's so
Great
much
lore for
behind it.
him
So
too.
much behind it. But like somebody like Boba Fett, right? Like such an interesting character. He was on what planet was he on? Was that Camino? He was on for like
Mandalore.
Mandalore. No, no,
Oh
no. When
well,
he was
he's
part of the clone,
Mandalorian, but yeah,
right?
sorry, yeah, Camino. You're right.
Yes. So he was there, and he built this clone army with this Jedi that nobody knows who he is, or he died years ago. I'm not even sure
Yeah,
how that
Tyrannus.
transpired. Yeah, I don't know if there's more lore behind that.
Well,
I'm sure
I can't
there is,
remember the
but
other Jedi they used. So they used some other guy. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, Tyrannus was the one who put in the order for all the clones, and that's Count Dooku's name, actually. He's Darth Tyrannus. That's what the
uh,
Emperor gave him, yeah.
I
And
see.
Count Dooku, there's actually a really good comic my cousin used to own that shows Count Dooku discovering Jango Fett
Hmm.
on I don't think it was in the depths of Coruscant. It was another planet.
Interesting. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's such like a an interesting character, and I feel like in all of the movies, he kind of like exists and he's gone. And then obviously,
Hmm.
they had the Mandalorian and then the Boba Fett series on Disney Plus, and now they're trying to expand on that because he's become quite the popular character. But honestly, man, like just from the movies themselves, I feel like they didn't do enough. He's so interesting, and he just kind of existed a little bit. Was a foe for Obi-Wan, and then
In both trilogies, honestly.
yeah, yeah,
Like Boba, it's funny. So when George Lucas made the character, he just wanted to make like a cool bounty hunter. He didn't think people were gonna be like obsessed with this
yeah,
random bounty hunter. They just wanted to make another little mini antagonist next to Vader or whatnot, and just the look. I mean, also the look of the character is just so cool. He's got the cape. He's got also the two braided I don't know what you like. It looks like braided strings next to his cape, but actually, if you read the comics, it's two different Wookiees he killed,
oh.
and he just took the hair off. Yeah, it just makes him more sinister.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, to speak to that, bro, I do have a small collection of comic books. I just have one container, but like, there's so much lore and stories behind all of these movies that we see. You know, it's just like the classic saying, you know, the book is better than the movie, right? Because it just has more information, and especially, I think people sometimes disregard things like comic books, but a picture in words is honestly great. I mean, it's adult picture books and it can portray, you know, something great. You can visualize what is happening, especially in action comics, right? Like you see these
Hmm.
things happening and you can visualize being there, you know, at the event or like how the characters are feeling by funny, you know, art and stuff. And I think um having to expand on that from I guess the strips and maybe the newspapers. I don't know when like the first comic book came out. Was it Action Comics #1, the Superman? I mean, that's like $150,000 book at like a beaten up, like poor condition, bro. That shit's so
Hmm.
but I think there was stuff before that. I don't know if Dark Horse did comics before Marvel. I'm not really sure how that or DC. I don't really remember. I used to know all of that, but just an advocate for comic books over here. Speaking his mind, I have a couple cool ones. I have one signed by Rob Layfield, if you know who that is. Um,
Was he one of the Supermen?
he is the creator of Deadpool.
Oh, wow. No,
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's a fun
yeah,
fact.
so I have a CGC graded, I think it's a 9.2 or a 9.4 of that. And then I have the Amazing Spider-Man #1 or the
Hmm.
Adventures of Spider-Man #1. And then I have the first 3 Alien vs Predator books, like just fun stuff like that I've collected.
Were they books before movies?
They probably not. I mean, the comic books I have are probably from like the 90s. So
Hmm.
definitely not. I think Alien was before way before that, right? Or before that.
Alien came out in 81, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely
Or
before that.
79. 79
Yeah.
or 1980, 1981, around there.
Okay, so definitely. But like I just have it they're I mean, they're worth probably $25 a piece, but like to me they're more novelty items. When I was in high school, I did a lot of oh, what it was called Saturday's Market is what it was called. It was flea market. And we
Yeah.
would get up and drive there at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, pay for our parking, our stall spot, and then we would get up, walk around, you know, buy some shit from people that were kind of just dumping their stuff out. We knew we could sell a value. We bought and sold comic books, other collectibles, action figures, video games,
Hmm.
and like trading cards. So I did a lot of Pokemon stuff. And through that, you know, now I've amassed like a much smaller collection. I've gotten rid of a bunch of my stuff. Um, but I have all my precious things or the things of value to me, if not monetary, then sentimental. But anyway, like now I have all those things, dude, and it's so cool to be able to display them around here. I'm just an avid collector type, so that's kind of how I got into it over the years, especially like action figures, stuff like that. I only have a couple left. I didn't get. Oh, you know what we did get? The best find we ever had was it was like a spring morning. It was like a Saturday, and we're like, let's get up, let's go to some yard sales, see what we can find. These people had the 19 what was it 1982 1983 Masters of the Universe, Gray Skull Mountain, and another castle, and the entire like almost the entire set of figures. $30, dude.
Mm.
We were like, oh my god, that's incredible. So obviously, you know, we bought that, maybe a few other items. Took them home, cleaned them up, it was over $600 or $700 we sold them for. Low key, I wish I would have
That
kept
is
some of
wild.
them, but that was the best one. That and Nerf guns are really valuable. I know people use them for cosplaying.
Nerf
So
guns are? I didn't
yeah,
realize that.
so I sold a special edition like Nerf Long Strike with a bunch of mags and stuff for like $150 bidding on eBay. Pick that up for $10. You know what I mean? Like just
Was the
silly
long
stuff like
strike
that.
the bolt action one? Or like,
Um,
they had an orange lever and it
yes.
was like a sniper rifle?
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, yeah, those were I didn't realize those were valuable. I just remember having a few of those, and then I had the tag uniforms,
Yep.
like the
Yep.
ones where you could actually shoot at each other and the bullet hit you, it stuck to you. I had that one, and then I had my gosh, it's actually hilarious to think about. They made like an M249 version
Mm-hmm.
Nerf gun where, had a bipod and it was automatic, or it was
Did you
yeah,
have
it was a
that?
machine. Yeah, where you put it down and it
Bro,
had this giant
I
square
know what you're
mag.
talking about. Yep.
It was so ridiculous. It's actually just ridiculous to
If you
think
if
about.
you had if you had all the pieces to that, that'd be worth like 150 bucks at least. I'm pretty sure.
Oh shoot, I didn't realize this.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's silly stuff like that that I was able to buy and sell at a profit and then keep the stuff that you know, I wanted for myself. So I my priority was my video game collection. So I have a PS1, PS2, bunch of games for both of those. I have a 360. I have two Wii's actually, DS, Game Boy, Advance SP. I had a Game Boy Color at one time. Ended up selling that. Um, had an NES, gave that to my cousin. Few other things like that, kind of to downsize my sphere of games. But like, dude, sometime I have Lego Star Wars for the PS2 and the GameCube. You gotta come over and play. I set up a TV in the podcast room. We can do a live podcast and fucking play GameCube, dude. Wouldn't that be so fun?
That is great. That's actually a great idea. I bought the newest Lego Star Wars that came out on, the Xbox One. Have you played that one yet?
No, I haven't. When did that come out?
Few years ago. It's a
Oh,
lot of, it's actually on do you have Xbox or PS5 or whatnot?
I have a PS4, and then I
PS4.
am three components away from building my PC, and then I'll just play games
Oh,
on
well,
my PC.
okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's awesome. But this new one it's pretty good. It's on Game Pass now for the Xbox, so I replayed it again recently. I mean, I own the game, but I just saw it on Game Pass and I wanted to replay it again.
yeah,
It's fun. The one thing I will say, I it's just it's too much free open world. It's like Red Dead Redemption if you ever played that with how much
yeah.
open world it is. And it's like
Interesting.
this is too foreign of a concept for me. I just like the linear. Also, they don't even have Dexter's Diner in the new one, which is just beyond,
Bro,
yeah.
Dexter's Diner was the
Or the
spot.
canteen, Dexter's Diner, or the cantina from Star Wars. Gosh, which was the third one? Was
The
the
third Lego Star Wars? What was it
yeah,
called? I thought I
the
had that one. I don't know that I do. The Complete Saga is the second one, I believe.
complete
That's the
saga,
one that
was the
I had.
complete saga it was all 6 movies, right?
Let's see. The one I had when I had my PlayStation 2 when I was a kid was the one where you couldn't even get into A New Hope, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, that was the first. That was the OG one, and then they came out with Lego Star Wars 2 that included the fourth, fifth, and sixth movie, and then the complete saga I think came out in '07, and that was all
You're
six
right.
movies.
You're right. So here, I pulled it up. I pulled it up. You're right. It's number one, Lego Star Wars, the video game. That's the one that I had, 2005. And then
Hmm.
Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, that was New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. That was '06. And then the complete saga was '07 with all six. And then the Clone Wars came out in 2011. Um, the Force Awakens 2016, and then the Skywalker Saga in 2022. Love those games, dude.
Hmm. I've been playing some new Star Wars games too. They came out with the Jedi Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Those were
Yeah,
good.
did you like
They're
that?
like
You like those?
They're kind of like Dark Souls clones. Oh yeah, they're fun. I like the story more than the actual gameplay
Sure.
personally, but it's still, I mean, it's great. I liked it.
Yeah, I have a couple buddies that played those games and very much enjoyed them. What about the new Indiana? Didn't the Indiana Jones game just come out? Did you get that one?
I recently beat it actually. I beat it last week. It
Nice.
was
What do you
incredible.
think? You thought it was
It
awesome?
I thought the way it played, and honestly, the story, it felt like an unearthed 80s movie, like script that just came to life. It was like something,
Okay.
it just felt so original. Honestly, it's the best Indiana Jones movie that's came out in the last 20 years. Even though I will say I do enjoy Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I used to not like it, but my buddy pointed out a few things to me. It's just like, wait, why do you hate it? And I was like, well, this and that. It's actually a really fun it's a fun action movie, but the Great Circle is which that's what the video game is called. I had so much fun with it. It probably took me about, including all the side quests, 15, 16 hours, maybe even
Really?
more. Yeah, it's a huge game. It's incredible. And it's actually on Game Pass for Xbox. So you pay $16 a month for Ultimate Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
and this game was included, and I'm shocked it was included. Honestly, I would have spent $60 gladly. It was
Right.
so
To
much
play
fun.
that. All right. So,
Hmm.
question for you. Question for you. Favorite video game of all time or series? I've got mine. What do you think? Any system, any age, whatever. Could be mobile game, or like SP, Game Boy Color, whatever.
I
What's your
won't
favorite?
pick. I can't. I'm terrible at picking favorites, but I'll
All right,
give
pick
you
top
like my
three.
top three. Top
Yeah.
three: Left 4 Dead 2,
Okay.
Red Dead Redemption. I'm gonna include I want to include Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 because 2 is pretty much the same as 1, just more maps and a few more weapons,
Uh-huh.
and two new like special zombies that you go against. So I'm gonna say the Left 4 Dead. Well, I'll just say Left 4 Dead 2, Red Dead Redemption 2 was just a cinematic experience for me, and I played Alan Wake 2 2 years ago, and that
Where
was
have
one
I
of my
heard of
favorite
that
games of
game?
all time. Oh man, it's an incredible series. So, rest in peace, David Lynch. But the creator of Alan Wake was actually inspired by Twin Peaks. And if you play
Mhm.
Alan Wake, it's like you could just tell the inspiration is all there. It takes place in a remote town in Seattle, or I'm not Seattle, but in the state of Washington. And a lot of you ever seen Twin Peaks?
I have not actually.
Oh man, get into it. Have you ever? It's an incredible universe. But Alan Wake 2, the first one came out in 2010, and it's one of the first Xbox games that I ever played. And when it came out, it's more of like a mystery thriller.
Sure.
Uh, it wasn't as scary. This new Alan Wake 2 game, it just took it to a different level. The graphics were incredible. There are a lot of scenes. So you're in this place called the Dark Place,
Okay.
and you
Interesting.
play as two different characters in Alan Wake 2. It's kind of hard if I don't want to spoil it because the first one, you have to play the first one to kind of understand the second one.
Gotcha. That's kind of
But if
cool.
yeah, there's like it's like limbo kind of. It's not exactly hell, but it's not exactly heaven, where
Right. Yeah.
where Alan Wake is currently, and but it's such an incredible game. I just recommend anyone to play it.
Interesting. What
I
game system is that on? Like a Xbox One, 360,
PC, Xbox
PC?
One, PS5, yeah, any of those three. It came out in 2023, so
Got
it's not on PS4. But nah, it's an incredible game.
phenomenal.
I want to get into it, but I also don't want to spoil it at the same time.
Well,
That's the most difficult thing.
those of you out there that have played the game or are an avid fan of Alan Wake, I'm sure they'll know what you're talking about. But
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was a big Call of Duty guy, so I played a lot of Call of Duty. For those of you out there that are listening from my Call of Duty days, they know I'm on YouTube. Still got those videos up there, the sniper clips.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
man. Yeah, man. So I was
My first
into
shooter was
all
Call of
that.
Duty 3.
Call
My
of Duty
first shooter
3.
game I ever played. Yep, on the PlayStation 2, and it was incredible.
I
Oh,
can't remember the first shooter game I ever played, but I remember when I was 14, 13 or 14 for Christmas, I got a PlayStation 3. I got Call of Duty Black Ops 1
wow.
and
Yep.
I got online, bro. It was over. Oh my god, that was so fun. I had so much fun playing those games and like the subsequent ones after that. I think I can't remember. Modern Warfare 3 came out after Black Ops 1, then it was Black
I
Ops
was there for the
2.
midnight premiere,
Me
the
too, bro.
Modern Warfare 3
Me too,
at the
bro.
my local GameStop. I think that's like what's crazy is that's the last midnight premiere of a game I ever went to. They just, they don't do them. I think they still do them, but they're like obviously there's not long lines or anything. It's not as cool.
Yeah, people are lining up for the latest NVIDIA GPU. That's a thing. They're camping in tents
I
for the
didn't know this.
5090 or whatever. Yeah, the 5090 Founders Edition. Because I guess there's only a certain amount, and it's special edition of the new card that's coming out. So people are camping out either to sell it or to use it because it's like $1,000, bro.
You can buy them at Best Buy or anything like that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you can buy them now, I'm sure. They came out a few weeks ago, I believe. At this point, it is February. Just for frame of reference, this podcast won't come out probably until April-ish. So, if
Oh,
you're
okay, I
saying
gotcha.
anything with a point of reference, it just takes me a while to kind of edit and get through them. But if you're saying anything in reference to any current events or anything, just, have that in mind.
Yeah, have
But
the yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But okay. So, video games, Call of Duty. My favorite series ever would have to be Spyro the Dragon,
Mm. Yeah, that's a
Ripto's
good one.
Rage, and then what was the third one called? I forget. I had the three on PlayStation 1. That kind of sparked my love for video games. I have the remastered version on PlayStation 4 when that came out.
Spyro?
But yeah, dude, there's nothing like booting up the old PS1 and playing it without joysticks, dude. It's so fun.
You want to know a fun fact about the first Spyro? So the music designer or the guy that made the music for the game is
Yeah.
actually Stuart Copeland, and he is the drummer for the Police. You know, you
Yeah,
know the band Police?
you know who told me that? I was like, "Why does that sound familiar?" Guess who I had on the podcast for episode
Vinny?
22? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, he knows. He
And
he knows.
we were
He knows
talking
more than I
about
do.
Spyro, so that's hilarious that you brought that up. We love that. But
You should go on YouTube and look up behind the scenes of that game, and Stuart Copeland goes into detail about like why he picked the certain sounds and whatnot, and it's
dude,
hilarious,
have you
honestly.
have you played the game recently?
Hmm.
Like
Oh,
with that
not
perspective,
recently,
man,
no.
it's awesome. The OG game with the soundtrack, it's fucking
I played the OG game
phenomenal.
down on the PlayStation 1. We used to have my grandparents are from Ashland, it's where my mom grew up, and so
Uh-huh.
we would almost every weekend go over to their place, and they had a PlayStation 1 set
Yeah,
up
the
in their Florida
PS1,
room.
bro. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yep, that and we what was the annoying thing is I remember not having a memory card for the PlayStation 1 for so long. And
No way.
this other game I loved so much, but it was such a pain to get through each time because I kept playing the first level. It was Metal Gear Solid
Metal
Tactical
Gear
Espionage.
Solid. Yeah.
First one
I
that ever
didn't
came
have that
out.
one,
It
but I know what you're
also
talking about.
has the best main menu music of probably all time, in my opinion. It's actually my phone ringtone right now,
That's
but
hilarious.
that's a great game.
Oh man, dude. Yeah, the PS1 reliving those days.
I
Such
play,
fun.
what I did play a remastered, or I guess it's a remake or remaster, I'm not sure, but Crash Bandicoot. They came out with the
Yes.
first, they remastered the first three games, and
Yep.
I'm currently on the second one right now. They're so much fun.
Yeah, so I
I wish
had
I bought it
Crash
for my
Team
Switch though.
I had Crash Team Racing. That's another thing I need to get. I need to
Mm,
get a Nintendo Switch. I
yep,
had
I had
Crash
that on the
Team Racing
PlayStation 1.
and I
It
had
was a
Crash
great one.
Bandicoot. Those didn't make it with me, but you know what game I do have that
Which
you
one?
might have played? Rayman. Have you played Rayman?
Dude,
Dude,
I
that
have
thing is
Rayman
hard.
3 Hoodlum Havoc on my
Yeah.
Xbox downloaded. So
Yeah.
on Game Pass, they have the three. So they remastered Rayman 3 for the 360 because that game came out, God, in '04 or
Something like that. Yeah.
'03 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like the days of the PlayStation 2. I had
Yeah.
it on my
Ancient,
PlayStation 2.
bro.
That's where I first was introduced to it. But I have it on my 360 right now, and I'm actually farther in the game than I ever was on my PlayStation 2, which is just like weird to think about.
Well, I mean,
Great game.
coming back to that perspective as an adult, dude, the games are much easier because you're not just trying to. Sometimes I found myself button mashing to try to get through because I was frustrated at a certain level or whatever. And
Oh,
now
dude,
I'm
it
like,
took.
okay,
Oh,
let's try to work through the problem. Like, why, how are we failing each time? And like, how do we get through this level? But dude, you have to come over sometime and play Rayman. The game is hard as fuck. I've never beat
which
it.
one was it? 3 or do you
No,
have 2 or 1?
I have one, the original one, but for the PlayStation
Wow.
1.
I see.
Yeah,
I wasn't even hip to that. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. You have to come play it, man. Oh, I'm gonna get. So I have two TVs with the analog inputs right now. So those will have systems attached to them. I'll probably put the 360 on one of them, and then the PS2 and the PS1 on another. And then when we're in here in the studio, once I get that set up, I'm gonna put like sound isolating curtains and stuff. We'll have a little table, and then we can come over, play some
Mm-hmm.
games, chat, have a couple beers, whatever. So very excited for that in the future. Video games are a huge love of mine, so glad we share that passion. Huge on that. But let's get back to music. We kind of strayed for 30 minutes down the
Yeah,
rabbit
that's
hole of
usually how it
video
goes for
games
me.
and comic books. No, I love it, dude. That's like, that's what I tell everybody when they first come on the podcast. That's perfect. Like, that's what I want. Natural conversation. What are you excited about? Like, what are the things that you like? And that's how you find out about somebody else. I share that interest with you. I know we share sports and football. I mean, God, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how many or how long of conversations we've had about that in terms of like minutes or hours spent chatting about Anthony Richardson and the Colts. And you
Yeah,
know
this season was. I mean, what's funny is I predicted this team to win 8 or 9 games and barely miss the playoffs. Like it's literally like been the last few years. The Colts have
yeah,
gotten 8 or 9 games. They've just gotten there like not this last season, but the season before that, the last game of the season, could have won the division,
yep.
beating the Texans because the Jaguars lost the very next day to the Titans. And yeah, it's just it's crazy how that unfolded. Gosh, Anthony Richardson tapping out, getting benched for a few games. I completely disagreed with it. It was like the Colts brass, the management, the staff were just chucking shit on the wall and seeing what sticks. They didn't have an actual plan for Richardson
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, which sucks for him as a player coming into, and it sucks as
Hmm.
the other players in the organization to have to deal with that. Like these guys are in the prime athletic, points in their career. Some of them, they're playing the best football of their lives.
That's
They want to
that's
win.
li-
They
that's
don't
the
want to.
problem with the dang Colts, man. We have too many
They're
players right now that are on like second, third contracts.
Yep.
Like Kenny Moore, great player. DeForest Buckner, I mean, he's one of the best nose tackles, defensive linemen in the league. Um, we have good linebackers, even though they've been getting a lot of flags. Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed. I like them. I will say though, it's funny. So I didn't even know this was an actual statistic. But did you know missed tackles are an actual statistic?
I
You
did
can't find them
not.
on any like mainstream, like on the app, but you have to Google it and look it up.
Sure.
Zaire Franklin, they're the two. So Zaire Franklin's our Mike linebacker. He's the one that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
controls the whole defense, and then the Sam linebacker is EJ Speed. And it's hilarious because they were top 10 in tackles. I think Zaire Franklin actually led the NFL in tackles this year.
Really?
So, yeah, it's incredible. But the thing is, you look at missed tackles, and they're both in the top 5. And it's like,
Wow.
well, it's like, yeah, you can. We love them making the tackles, but you also got to look at the percentage of like, okay, it's like a low percentage, because the guys make constantly making tackles, so you can't expect him to make everyone. That was also another problem with the Colts defense is these linebackers had to make too many tackles. Our
Yeah.
defensive line was not stopping running backs. They weren't Like there was just too much penetration. Even with
Right.
DeForest Buckner on the team, there was just too much penetration.
Yeah, I mean, you see that with the specialized running backs in the league now. Like you have the bell cows, the big boys, Saquon, Derrick
Hmm.
Henry, Jonathan Taylor, guys like Kamara. Once they make it to that second level, I'm not surprised, man. You got to deal with that every single time. You know,
Hmm.
you're going to have a lot of missed tackles. You're also going to make a lot of tackles, but that makes it so much harder on your defense because once they break that defensive
Hmm.
line, they can juke one of like four ways or spin. Like their options just open up like that much more to do their job, right? And by that happening, that means somebody on the defense is failing at their job, right? You know, once
Oh,
they
no
get
question.
there, and it's tough, dude. You know, I've talked about it a few times. Recently, I had we have a couple sports series that we do. I had the two guys, the Palm City Chucks from my hometown. They have a sports podcast. Both Eagles and a Detroit fan, and they both played football for years, so know a lot about the game, analyze it, you know, stuff like that. And dude, every time we talk about it, it starts in the trenches, bro. You know, it's so important to establish that line as the offensive front,
Yep.
same as the defensive front, bro. It all starts there. I mean, those guys should have some of the highest contracts, man. Like I don't know. Obviously, that would cuff
Oh,
people
but yeah,
and
Buckner is
stuff
getting
like
paid
that. But
well for sure.
yeah,
That,
you know,
that
those
guy's
guys
making good
deserve
money,
it. Yeah.
especially the guys that can get sacks, like the edge rushers. Those guys,
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the
they're gonna make
successful
good
teams,
money.
bro. Great offensive line coaching, great defensive line coaching.
Yep, Chris Jones, who's probably one of the best nose tackles or defensive tackles in NFL history. You know, the Kansas City Chiefs guy, that guy,
Yep.
he's one of the main reasons that are relevant.
Yeah. Yeah. That defensive line is so good. I think, you know, that has a lot to do with the coordinator and the coaching behind that too. Like
Yep,
having the
Steve
right coaching
Spagnuolo is
staff.
one of the best defensive coordinators in NFL history as well.
Yeah.
Like they really nailed that hiring.
Absolutely, man. Why do you think they've been so successful? It's been incredible. I mean, the team has been just so, I feel like mediocre, but like they just win all the time. They just
Oh
know
yeah, give me
fundamental
that any
football.
day of the week, dude. Honestly, I don't care how they the Colts haven't. I haven't seen the Colts win a playoff game since 2018, and I have not seen the Colts host a playoff game since 2014. So yeah,
I
I
don't know if I
totally
can
get it.
beat you there. Can I beat you? I think the Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2015.
Which is crazy because they've made the playoffs about almost every year except maybe one or two off years. I think y'all won 8 games one time or two.
2016.
That's a that's a crazy statistic considering you've hosted a playoff game and you've played in a playoff game almost every year.
Yeah, let's see. We're pulling up Pro Football Reference. Let's just walk through the shambles that I am in currently as a Steelers fan. Important to preface this conversation with I was a Mike Tomlin believer, but like a kind of a doubter the last two seasons.
Yeah.
I just don't see what we do here, man. Like I don't know. Something needs to change. It's not working. Like we're not really contending for a Super
That's
Bowl.
the
We're making the
problem. The
playoffs.
ownership, yeah, exactly. This is the problem with some ownerships. They're content with that, just
Yeah.
barely getting by. Like that's the problem. What's funny, so the Colts won their last game against Jacksonville, right? They hosted Jacksonville, but it didn't matter whatsoever because they lost to the freaking New York Giants to get officially eliminated from the playoffs. And then the week before that, they lost a crucial game against Denver where they could have been up 20-7, but that was the infamous game where Jonathan Taylor drops the freaking ball
Yep.
right at the oh my God, I have never seen anything like that. That was crazy. And then they completely capitulated after that. Did you see that
Yep.
happen?
Yep. I remember that,
Dude,
dude.
it was hell. I mean, there's 53 players on an NFL team. I would name 52 other guys that would do that before Jonathan Taylor. It was wild to
Yeah.
watch it happen. It's like, I couldn't believe, I had almost no words. I couldn't explain why he did that. It's just brain fart, but the dude is one of the smartest guys I've ever seen on a Colts team. He's also he's one of the best speakers. He honestly could be a president someday. He speaks
Really?
that well.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that. I didn't know he's a really
Look up
good public
Jonathan
speaker.
Taylor interviews. I think he's a few years. You're 28, right, or 27?
27, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 27 as well, and he's 2 years younger than us, but he speaks better than I think I've ever spoken in my life. The guy's just
Well-spoken dude. We love
yeah,
that.
insanely smart.
We love
Just
it.
like, you see that on the field, he was getting clowned and he was getting, I would be fair, it was fair. But then and then the next week, against Tennessee, I think he dropped I think he had over 230 yards, 3 touchdowns or
Something
something like
crazy.
that. Yeah, it was awesome to see. But no, the problem with the Colts is it's just they're bad quarterback play. Like I said, the
Yeah, I
Colts
can
made the
relate.
playoffs in the 2020 year. We had Philip Rivers, a 40-year-old quarterback, leading us, but the guy was so smart and he had just enough juice left where he can make certain throws.
Yep.
And man, we almost beat the Bills that year too. This was the first good year of Josh Allen, in my
Of
opinion.
Josh. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, it's crazy, bro. The quarterback landscape has definitely changed since our best years of football, at least for me. So we're gonna
Yeah.
run through this log right now.
Oh no, for
So
me too. I
yeah,
went from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck to now I'm
yes.
watching Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, b- Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson. Yeah.
Flacco, the couch
Yeah.
commander, bro. But yeah, I mean,
Ugh.
I mean, we have a lot of playoff berths. We've made the playoffs as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan a lot of times. We played a lot of games. So we'll
Which is
start with
impressive in that division as well.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Not trying to sound like a hater for the Steelers, but it's just like crazy
yeah,
how
man.
many
So
playoff
like,
berths y'all have without a playoff win in the last, like you said, 2016.
yep, 2016 is our last win.
Crazy.
So basically I became a fan 2005 Pinnacle Steelers football, last win of oh my god, why can't I remember his name? Cowers Steelers,
Wow. Yeah,
right?
man. I remember watching that.
2005.
Yep,
Yes.
that Super Bowl against Seattle. Was that
Yep.
his last game?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was the following year, but yeah,
I
I
think it
think it
was the
was his last
following
game.
year.
I don't
It
know.
may have
I
been the
can't remember.
following year because I feel like that would have been like Peyton Manning-esque levels of riding off. Remember, he won that Super Bowl in 15 against the Panthers and just
Yes.
rode off into the sunset.
Yeah, against Cam Newton, right?
Mm-hmm. That was a
Yep.
good Super Bowl, man.
Yes, it was. I remember that one. That was phenomenal. But anyway, yeah. So I became a fan after that year because the following year, I guess my dad knew somebody at the Pittsburgh Steelers security on the security team or whatever. We got access to we went to spring training and we got access to the grounds behind where you normally can stand or whatever. Got to meet some of the players. I got to meet Hines Ward, Santonio Holmes, Rashad Mendenhall was the running back at that time. Big Ben, of course.
Great team. Santonio Holmes is one of my favorite catch.
Yes.
That catch in that Super Bowl. Oh man, I mean,
Yeah, my dad met Palomalu, I think the year after. But anyways, so funny story. I think I've told it on here once or twice. But anyways, like the first year I'm there, I see all these guys and it's phenomenal. I wish I met James Harrison, dude. Love him. He's one of my favorite players of all time, football players that is. Um, but anyway, you know, being a young kid and a fan, Big Ben, comes walking up, whatever. And this is pre scandal action that he was definitely
yeah.
involved in. If everybody's on audio, I'm shaking my head here as a Steelers fan. It definitely happened, but
Yeah, the
I can
report was
still,
disgusting. I remember reading it
yeah,
even when I actually understood the gravity of the situation.
absolutely disgusting. Yeah, no, terrible. But as a fan, as a Steelers fan, like nothing happened. I wish something would have, but I like to talk about his statistics because he had a winning career with us. He basically came in his rookie year, won 13 games, from Miami of Ohio. Like who does that? Josh Allen from Wyoming. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't
Yeah,
really
that's
happen
very
very
similar.
often.
That's
But
actually a good
anyway,
point.
yeah. Anyway, like I walk up to him like, Big Man, whatever. Let me get your autograph. He's like, security, get these kids out of here. They're not supposed to be in this place or whatever. And we're like right behind some fence or some line. We go back 2 years later. maybe that's when I met Rashad Mendenhall. Maybe I forget who the back was before that. I don't think it was Willie Parker because I would have definitely wanted to get
Yeah,
him.
no, Willie Parker was a freaking animal, man.
Yeah,
He was so much fun to watch.
yeah. So I can't remember exactly, but we go back 2 years later. And guess who's super nice to me and gives me a signature on my hat that I still have. That'll be one of the
Big,
things
yep, big
hanging out
men.
in the room. Yeah, yeah, and that was literally 2 years later. That was right after it happened. So his PR team was probably like, "Be fucking nice to everybody," you know. But terrible situation. Great quarterback. He's kind of a dick,
Mm-hmm.
asshole. You know, sometimes you have to be a professional athlete to some regard, but you know, then again, like all some of these Walter Payton guys seem like incredible people. You know, Jonathan Taylor, well spoken, probably respected in his community. But anyway, we'll stop talking about that. I'll continue talking about statistics. So anyway, we win the Super Bowl against Seattle in 2005, 21-10. And then we lose next year or 2 years later, 2007 playoffs against the Jags. Jags have been a kryptonite of ours, honestly. And then 2008, we beat the Cardinals, the Santonio Holmes toe tap catch, the James Harrison 99-yard interception return before halftime. You know, what a game. That was awesome. That was my favorite game I've ever watched. And then in 2010, we go back to the Super Bowl. We lose to fucking Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Mm-hmm. That was a
Tough.
good Super Bowl too, as a neutral though.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Phenomenal game. And
You know
then we
George
go,
Home? Have you met George Home?
I don't know. Grace talks about him. I think I know who you're
Yep.
talking about.
He went. I met him. Well, I've known him since elementary school because he moved from Florida to here,
I gotcha.
or Richmond. He actually attended that Super Bowl with his mom. He was
Really?
there. Yeah, he's
Oh
a
my
huge
God.
Packer. Well, his family is a big Packer family, and they
Really?
actually got
Go
to go to
Pack.
that Super Bowl. He
Cheeseheads, baby.
Yeah, he met Wes Welker too, because they were doing some like fun individual cornerback drills,
Yeah,
before the Super Bowl somewhere, and he actually got to meet Wes Welker too, which
that's super
I
cool.
I I hate him as like in terms of when he was
Of
on the
course.
Patriots, but he's a great receiver.
Of course. So my buddy whose podcast is releasing on Monday, huge Pats fan. He's from Connecticut, huge Patriots fan. So we talked about that a little bit, the winning mentality of Tom Brady. You love to hate him, but damn, dude, was he good at his job, man? He might be one of the best people at their jobs in the history of people doing jobs. You know what I mean? Of work.
Hmm.
That guy is phenomenal. You know, just the mental aptitude, the things that he knew, the pre-snap calls, like everything was just like perfect, bro. And like even into a later age, I mean, he won a Super Bowl with the
Oh,
Buccaneers, bro. Come
I know.
on, and it's in
Seriously.
2020. Like, what?
If
Like,
any of the
bro.
Colts team captains, well, Buckner, I think, has this mindset, but if any of the other team captains on Indianapolis had his mindset, I think we'd be in a much better position.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And that's what we talked
Dude's
about.
actually a true leader, and there's not many of them nowadays.
Yep. Yep. That's what we were talking about. You know, lead by example, be a leader. It's not like in a 53-man roster and a team, right? You have, of course, you have your coaches and your mentors, the people you're kind of looking at, but who's
Hmm.
organizing the team, right? You know, as someone who's played team sports a bunch in my childhood, it was a great way to kind of relate and work with your fellow humans, right? Like most sports I played were team sports, with the exception of golf. I love golf. Huge, yeah. I played in high school. Huge golf fan. Huge golf nut. Whatever. But anyway, with the exception of that, everything I played was a team sport. You're relying on somebody else, an individual, to provide something for you to help the team win, you know, and you have to reciprocate. So it's super interesting
Yep, it's like
learning
cogs
how,
in the machine. They all got to
yeah,
work, all
and
that
learning,
jazz.
right, yeah, and learning how to relate to one another, work together. You know, I always say that's one of the, you know, best things in my opinion. I haven't had kids yet, but I think that's great for children's development, man. Learn how to work together with somebody. Like, you're always going to be a part of a team, whether you're at your job, whether you're, you know, in your relationships, it's the groups of people you hang out with. Like, you have to learn how to interact and make things work, right? Like, it's just a part of that. But yeah, I mean, sports in general are huge for me for that. It's kind of frustrating for me in the past couple years. Everything's been seeming so corporate and monetized, and
Mhm. Mhm.
it's tough for me to watch sometimes, man. Like I watch the Pirates play, but I never get any joy out of that because we're never going to do anything. We sign old vets,
They
and
weren't
the
even
owner
enjoyable
isn't
with
relevant.
McCutcheon.
Yeah, yeah. This year was just dud. I mean, they have Paul Skeens, bro, the rookie of the year.
Mhm.
Incredible. Dude, he's an ace. And still, we're not going to do shit. His contract will run out, and somebody like the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets
Well, that's
will
also the
pay him
problem with
oodles.
baseball. Those two teams right there, I feel like they get so much leeway in terms of
Yeah.
who they spend on in free agency and whatnot. They're just not held to the same standard as other
Right.
teams.
Right. They have the bankroll to do so. That's the problem. Like we have Mr. Mini owner over here whose entire net worth is tied up in the Pittsburgh Pirates, Bob Nutting. So it's hard for him to be like, "Hey, I'm going to spend more of my money, my income than
Mhm.
ownership group like Vegas and the Raiders with Brady coming in, shit like that." So it's like, and they're opening up this stuff, the NFL ownership to private equity firms, which is interesting and I don't really love.
That's going to be the most corporate team of all time. That Las Vegas Raiders team. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, who'd they get? They just got Pete Carroll, right? And then they paid what's
Mhm.
his face from was it Ohio State? No. Who'd they just pay to become their offensive coordinator? They just
Oh
paid somebody
God,
big
I
big
did. I
bucks,
know. I
didn't
I
they?
may have missed that.
Let's see.
Yeah, because they just don't have a fan base out there. Las Vegas is just a giant tourist attraction. So
Yeah. Chip
if
Kelly.
oh, that's right. Oh my God, I can't believe he got another job in the even though,
They're paying him a ton of money too. He's the highest paid
ugh,
coordinator. It's like 6 million bucks for the next year or something
yeah,
crazy.
that's the problem with Al Davis as well. He thinks he can throw money at the he has not learned his lesson, especially after that John Gruden contract where he gave him 10 years, $100 million. It's like,
Yeah.
and this was in 2017 or 18. I can't believe he has not learned his lesson.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, it's so funny, especially the inner workings of corporate sports teams. Like we talk about that a lot too. Like, what do you see in the successful organizations? Stature and things that don't really change, like ownership groups, people putting good coaches and people into positions they need to be, right? Like making sure I don't know if you saw the NFL Players Association survey that goes out every year, but like, some of the massage therapists are better, some of the Justin Tucker, some of
No,
the, some of
I knew you were gonna. When I heard massage, I knew Justin Tucker was gonna be
Justin
mentioned.
Tucker, bro. What the fuck, man? What is going on?
The
I'm
AFC
sure
North is
more.
collecting
Yeah.
these sexual assault charges like it's the Infinity Stones for Thanos. It's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
it is crazy. Uh, I mean, uh,
Well, Ray Lewis, I was about to say Ray Lewis, but he just murdered someone. I
yeah,
don't think he.
he just killed somebody.
Hmm. And I
Gee,
can't talk too much. Marvin Harrison, I'm pretty sure, was a freaking gangster, dude. I think he survived. It's funny. I think he survived a shooting. I can't remember the exact situation was, but he
really?
survived a shooting. And yeah, there's a whole rabbit hole where I believe he's killed a few guys as well,
That's
which I'm
crazy.
glad I've thought about. It's like, why is he? Because we have leaders like Reggie Wayne, Robert Mathis that are still highly tied to Indianapolis. Edgerrin James, he's always coming to Colts games when he
Yeah,
can. And I'm like, I always wonder, why is Marvin like, why isn't he out here with the Colts and whatnot? And he is more now because his son got drafted.
right.
But man, I always come back to that, you know, uh, the murder drive-by. I can't remember exactly what the situation was. I try to ignore it as a Colts fan, but yeah, it's not
Yeah,
good.
that's wild. I didn't know that. Yeah, there are a number of guys involved in shit like that. I feel like we hear it every year and it's drama, but like I
Hmm.
don't know, man. Like I love this for the love of the sport. Like I like watching it for the technicality. It sucks that it's 36 minutes or whatever it is of actual football play
This is why I was about to bring
compared to
up
the
my.
commercials.
So well, not recently, but I've always been a huge soccer fan, and so I had multiple friends that have like teams in the Premier
What
League,
what
the
what
English
team are
Premier
you?
League.
EPL. What
I'm
team?
Everton. because
Everton.
at the
I like
time
that.
I chose Everton. This was 2013, I
Sure.
believe. They had Tim Howard as their
Yep.
team
I remember.
captain,
I
and
remember
he's,
Tim
you know,
Howard.
the American. And at that time, there was only him. I can't remember if Clinton Dempsey was playing in Seattle at this time, but he played for Fulham and he played for Tottenham in his earlier years. So besides like him, and also Everton had another American. He wasn't as notable as Tim Howard, but Everton have had a few Americans, and there is some North American, a lot of ties into the club as well.
Sure.
And you're talking about teams, relying, every player's like a cog in the machine. I
Yeah.
think soccer is like the perfect example of that because there's 11 players, and they're all involved the same. There's not like, in NFL there's some guys like they rotate in and out, for like
Sure.
some safety positions with different formations, different schemes and whatnot. In soccer, you're playing the same 11 guys, throughout the entire game. You do get three different substitution periods, and now you get five subs total. But it's really, I feel like soccer is one of the best team sports ever. It may be actually, it's probably the best team sport of all time.
So I will say I've changed my opinion greatly on soccer. I used to think
Oh, you're a big
not.
hater?
Yeah, I was a big hater, and I think I just drank the haterade, man. Just because I wasn't involved in it. I played it at a young age and then didn't really play it.
There's a lot of diving and simulation nowadays,
Yeah.
especially in the
Yeah.
Premier League. I can see why people don't like the players going
Sure.
down easily, but it's just like it's also how the game is refereed.
Right, exactly. It's because of the rules. Like we see that in all the
Mm-hmm.
other sports too. Like
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes is a prime example of that, bro. Like
Yeah,
the whole running out of
oh, they
bounds
need to
and
figure that's also
yes.
something they need to figure out. The QB when like because I there were gosh, there were about three or four different clips I saw where he's about to fake slide and teams are like immediately giving up. But then
Yeah,
he goes up for a few extra 10 yards. There's this one play, I can't remember if it was against the Raiders or someone else, but it was egregious. It's just like, well, no, I feel like you should have to actually slide there as a quarterback, and
absolutely. You should get
uh,
penalized for not doing so.
and these defensive players are as scared to touch these quarterbacks, man. I remember growing up, that was never the case.
The
I
Sean
watched
Taylor Pro
Dwight,
Bowl clip.
dude, oh my God, when he rails, I think, oh,
Who was
was it
that? I
Johnny
forget.
Hecker? No, I don't think it was Johnny Hecker, but it was some punter, and he just completely and that was a Pro Bowl game too.
Yeah.
No, that's a whole nother conversation. Get into that this nonsense Pro Bowl, especially with the All-Star game happening in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Just yeah, they have completely killed both of those things. It was much cooler in the mid 2000s.
Absolutely. It's tough though, you have these athletes, with $1 million insurance policies on their
Yep,
bodies, Derrick Henry,
yep.
like they don't want to risk something like that. And like
Mm-hmm.
I hear that. I hear that. It's just not entertaining, bro. Like I feel like those guys did it before because it was fun and they liked competing against the other best players in the league, right? Like it's not about that anymore. It's about money and contract value and longevity of your career and how much you can squeak out. Like that's another thing we talked about with Mike, this podcast that's releasing on Monday. Like sometimes I feel like the passion for the game has shifted, right? From like actual love of the sport to like a monetary value. What do the
Mm-hmm.
best athletes in the world play? What are the two sports they play? Basketball and football because they have the highest value, right? And soccer I feel like has an extremely high value as
Soccer in
their
the Premier
contract
League, I will say some of these
are
guys
hard
make
to get
about
to.
130,000 pounds or something a week. It's absolutely
Oh yeah.
wild how much money you can make in
I've
soccer.
seen those clocks or the tickers, like the one that does US national debt of like how many seconds Messi plays in a game and he earns like 275K or something crazy, whatever that
Dude,
number is.
yeah,
Something
there's a
crazy.
Ronaldo one as well. It's like you could literally track how much money Ronaldo makes, and it's
He could
so stupid.
sneeze
It's like
and
it's
make
exactly like the
50,000.
US
Yeah.
depth tracker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, as we kind of get to an hour 15 here, I kind of wanted to circle back to the music question and we can kind of wrap
Yeah,
it up with
yeah,
that
I
because I
know.
think
We have delved off. That is my bad.
no, 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 no worries at all. That's like I said, that's the whole point, bro. Like That's
Mm-hmm.
why I was so excited to have you as a guest on here. Next time you got to come over. We got to do it here. I think that would be
Would
super
love
fun as
to.
well. But yeah, I was super excited for this. Had it in my calendar for weeks. Very much looking forward to it. But yeah, something I kind of wanted to touch on because I know you're involved in it. You know, you go to a lot of shows. You know some of the local artists. And for everybody out there listening to this, we appreciate you listening so far. Let me say that really quick. But for those of you in the Richmond area, I kind of wanted to give a lay of the land as to where you can go for a show. If you're a first time concert goer out there, if you don't really know where to frequent, where the best bands are for your type of music, I feel like Cabell is a great resource for that. So, yeah, that's kind of something I wanted to get into to round it off here for all those folks still tuning in to the Slanted Attic experience. We appreciate you all. But yeah, man, give me the lowdown. Like, where do you like to go see music the most? Local artists. I know we talked about the RVA Mag, obviously. Brick had Vincent on. Love those guys. Um, Very fun to see them perform. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what would you suggest? I know there's a couple open air venues. They're doing the amphitheater. But yeah, I know like Broadberry, I frequented a bunch. I have not been to the Camel yet, unfortunately. And then we have the
That's
National,
mm-hmm.
all those places. But yeah, give me the lowdown, man.
If you were to ask me honestly, so I've seen a lot more shows at the National than any other venue. That's because I feel like they book, more artists with like record deals, more prominent artists. Even though the lineup this year isn't anything too spectacular so
I
far.
know. I was kind of bummed.
There's a few bands I'm going to see, but there's really they need to do better. And I get it's only February. They're still they'll start probably booking more in March and
Right.
whatnot. I would say the Camel is just an incredible. I was actually just there on Friday to see this band called Kendall Street Company. They're a jam rock psych band, a
Yeah, I've
psychedelic
seen
rock
them at
band from.
the Broadberry.
Yep,
They're from around here, aren't
and
they, or from somewhere
they're from
close?
Charlottesville. But multiple of their members live in Richmond. Their saxophone player, I know, Jake, he lives in Richmond,
Love it.
and really nice guy. But I saw them on Friday, and the great thing about the Camel is so the Camel just has they're more lenient with their hours. Like a lot of the shows in the National, you'll see bands have a few openers, and then the main headliner starts at 9 and whatnot, and then they play till they maybe sometimes they do a set break or sometimes they don't even start till 9:30 or
Right.
whatnot, and then the show usually ends at 11. The great thing about the Camel is I've seen so many bands. I've seen this other I saw a rock band there uh in 2023 called Pom Pom. They just got back together actually. They went on a hiatus and now they're back together. Their lead
Cool.
singer J. Roddy Walston, and if you ever have listened to the Richmond radio, I'm guaranteeing you've listened to a J. Roddy Walston song. This
What's
guy had
the FM number for the Richmond radio?
102.1. Sorry, the
1021?
alternatives. Yeah,
No, 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 that's okay.
102.1.
Yeah, yeah, I listen to 1061. I'm on ESPN radio every day, so I need a
What's
little
funny,
bit of
so my
variety.
radio wakes me up every morning at 6:30 a.m. and I have it's Elliot in the morning. Have you ever listened to him? He's a
No.
good. He's I what's funny is in middle school I loved him a lot. High school started just not to listen to him, and then just always thought he was a little bit annoying. But it's funny, I've listened to him more again this year, and it's just like they're all like this podcast, they're always talking about something. It's always entertaining. The guy's a good personality.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just sidetracking. Anyway, so J. Roddy Walston had a really good song called "You Know Me Better Than I Know." It goes, "You know me better than I know myself." I think the song may be called "You Know Me Better,"
Okay.
but that song was on 102.1 for what felt like over a year. Great
Uh-huh.
song during the mid 2010s, like
Sure.
2014, I think, 2013, 15.
Uh-huh.
And he's not with so the band was called J. Roddy Walston and the Business. He's not with the Business anymore, but he wrote all those songs, for the Business. He doesn't play
Sure.
them as much anymore. He'll play them solo. He did a solo series of shows at like you ever heard the Edgar Allan Poe bar. I think it's called Poe's Bar or something like that.
Yeah, where is that? That's
Shaco. It's in
yeah,
Shaco
yeah.
area.
Uh-huh. I've seen that.
It's
I've
a
never.
cool little pad. It's just, it's kind of it's in a weird spot in Richmond. It's not
Sure.
like it's not like the Camel or, like the other bars on West Main Street or whatnot. It's kind of just out of the way. It's a great venue. He did a lot of solo shows there. But anyway, I'm sorry, sidetracking. But at the Camel, I saw him and Pom Pom perform there. I saw both nights, and he just, he was incredible. So he did the Saturday and Sunday of this show or of this weekend I went to, and then I actually saw him open up for this other band from Harrisonburg. It's a duo called Illiterate Light.
Yeah, I've heard of
They're
Illiterate Light.
incredible.
I don't know.
They're
They came and played at the
incredible.
Broadberry recently, I believe. I think so.
They played at the Broadberry. I think I saw them last year, maybe 24, 23.
Okay. I
I want to
saw
say
them come somewhere around here. I
24.
was kind of interested. I think I was out of town that weekend, but I wanted to go to that show.
Oh, they played at Get Tight too. That's the Get Tight Lounge. That's a great bar venue right off of
Really?
West Main Street.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
it's that's actually a great spot because it's a bar when you first come in, and then when you go outside, there's two different buildings that it's next to, and
Uh-huh.
they have this entire like patio area with gravel and rocks, and the venue or where the band actually plays is like a garage.
Oh, that's cool.
So they converted this bar into and they converted this garage into connecting it with a bar.
Uh-huh.
It's such a great venue.
That's
I
super
actually saw
neat. I've never
Michaela
been there.
Davis and her band there. She's this harpsichord player. You sit down and
Really?
play the giant harp. Yeah, that
That's
was a
super
fun
neat.
show. Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. So do they have like various acts or do they have like
Mhm.
a focal point in type of music? Is it more like rock,
Folk.
alternative
Well, I
stuff?
feel like the Richmond scene has. Well, for Get Tight, they're more like folk, some rock, country, especially. They do a good amount of country shows there too.
Yeah.
I want to say the the Camel will do it all. They'll do
Yeah, we love
country,
that.
bluegrass, rock. They've had electronic acts as there as well.
Hmm.
Um, just like actually, there's this one band I saw called Monster a Go Go. Vincent's band Big Red played on the same bill,
Yeah.
and they're like I can't even. It's like gothic rock, a little
Interesting.
psychedelic, a little punk too, and
Yeah.
they include a lot of like. There's actually this one song that the beginning of it is just Vincent Price. You know who that is?
Uh-uh.
Oh, he's one of the like main guys in horror. He's the lead actor in The House on Haunted Hill.
Gotcha. Okay.
hmm That I mean, and also he's in The Fly. That's a great movie. He's got a small role in that.
I haven't seen that.
I think was it The Fly or no? I think it's Edward Scissorhands actually. I think it's one
Okay.
of his final movies. But if you look up Frank um Vincent's like movie history, he's incredible.
Using Goodfellas? Oh, I know who this guy is.
Oh,
Yeah, of
did
course.
I say Frank Vincent? I'm sorry. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no,
You
no,
said
no, no.
Vincent Price?
Vincent Price. Yeah, sorry. Gosh, I actually just watched The Sopranos. I finished The Sopranos last year, and he's one of the best actors I've ever
What'd you
seen.
think
Yeah, I
about
just mix him.
what'd you think about the ending to that? I didn't love the ending of that.
I loved it, honestly. So when it first happened, I thought my TV was messed up or something. I literally replayed that part three different times, and I figured out, oh, this is actually the ending. I
Yeah,
couldn't imagine for someone actually watching it live. Like they must have been so confused or pissed off. But for
dude.
me, I loved it because there's a lot they reference this ending in a way because Bobby and Tony talk about it where it's just like they're talking about death and it's like I've heard someone say once it happens you just go to black, like
Yeah.
nothing happens. And I really love that because I feel like David Chase intentionally put that because I think that scene happens in earlier in season 6, and then it just comes right back in the final episode.
Yep. Yep. See, I hated the abrupt ending. Like there were so many things that I felt like they could have tied together better, and they
Yeah,
just didn't provide any ending to and any closure. And I hated that. I hate when shows do that.
that was the
I know.
thing
I get
I
it's the
understood
point.
with it because it's
Ah,
our viewpoint of Tony. Even though we saw every other character, our main viewpoint was of Tony Soprano. So like when Tony Soprano is gone, our entire viewpoint is gone, and also
fair.
left up to
Yep.
the imagination. Like with so many other characters, because all those captains. I don't want to also spoil it for anyone that's not seen. I feel like if you haven't seen it at this point, then that's your fault. I want to
Yeah, you should
almost
probably
say
see
that, but
it.
yes, I actually just watched it for the first time. Like I said last year, and
Oh,
just
I did
one of the
2 years ago.
best
Yeah,
decisions of
I
my
just
life.
recently watched it. Oh yeah, phenomenal show. I mean, for anybody out there, especially like, dude, I'm Italian. Love the mob.
I didn't
Love the
know that.
mob
Oh,
stuff.
oh yeah, I
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah. So
zero ties to
yeah, I
Italy.
mean, I don't
I
think,
wish I did.
yeah, I don't think I have any ties to the mob, but both my grandmother and grandfather came from, their parents were born in Italy. So I'm what, 2 generations
Oh, that's
removed.
awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Part about my heritage, but yeah. So back to Richmond music scene. So Get Tight Lounge. You were about to say something about the Richmond music scene as a whole, and we kind of segued from that. What's your thought on that? Like, what are we seeing most in Richmond, especially with this new amphitheater? I get that the National is one of the larger venues here, but that should open up a little bit for some larger guests to arrive, don't you think?
Yeah, and my friend Michael and Vincent and I have also talked about the amphitheater, and it's a little disappointing so far because even though this, it's only the first year, you can't
Right.
completely judge and blame them. But like, I only have one ticket to see a concert there, and it's Weird Al Yankovic, which he's awesome. Weird Al Yankovic's
Dude,
amazing,
yeah,
but
I saw that. I would love to go
I got
see
a ticket to
Weird Al.
that, and I grew up on his music. I feel like he
Me
got
too,
me
man.
into honestly, because I listened to some of his goofy stuff, and then I actually listened to the original song, and even
Mhm.
though he's goofy, it just made you actually this guy actually did these songs almost to a T.
Yeah.
But just had
Dude,
his
he was
own lyrics.
linguistically gifted. Oh man,
Hmm.
he was great at that, man. Oh, I love that too. White and Nerdy was my favorite. I knew every word of that song.
Yeah, and like the problem with this new amp is they're just really just trying to make money. Like they have a lot of these classic rock
Yep.
artists. They're trying to attract the older crowd. People that are more established. They haven't, they're retired or whatnot. Like they
Higher
have
disposable
Kansas.
income, baby.
Yeah, like 38 Special, Kansas. Have you ever heard of those bands? Like
No, I have not. Let's see
Kansas,
their
I maybe like four good songs overall. They have not been. Yeah, they, I mean, they have not. The Richmond Theater booked them in 38 special time, and it's just like I feel like they're really missing the mark
yes.
so far. They also missed out
Boys
on
to
Fisha
Men might
announced
be
a
all
tour.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Jason Isbell's
know we
playing
were
there
I've
too.
never seen
He's gonna be
I've
he's gonna
never
be
seen
awesome.
Fish, and that's like I've been this year. I mean, you've met Coleman, Grace's sister's fiance, probably at some point. But anyway, huge Fish, widespread panic guy. His dad was a deadhead, so kind of transferred that to him. But like, I've never seen Fish. I saw the Disco Biscuits for the first time last year. Absolutely loved that. I want to go see Fish. I want to see Widespread Panic. And when the amphitheater was in the announcement or whatever last year, 2 years ago, he was like, "Oh my God, Fish is gonna come! Like, we have to go see Fish when they're here. Like, they're definitely gonna be here." And then they were like, "Oh my, we're announcing a tour," and he's like, "Get ready. This is our time." And then we missed it. We don't get
Yeah,
them.
and that's the problem I
What the
have
hell,
with the
man?
amphitheater. They're really missing out on a band like that. I mean, my God, I feel like it would bring in so many. Well, it would bring in a great crowd, but then also the thing about Fish shows is they have a great community. Like, they do a lot of, like the Grateful Dead, they had Shake Shaky Fish has
Yep.
their own lot. They do where a bunch of I would call them small business or entrepreneurs. They sell grilled cheeses. They have their own merch that they make. It's
Yeah.
actually I have a bucket hat, and it's more of like I don't know if you it's it, I don't know if the actual term for it is a bucket hat, but it acts. it's one of my favorite hats. It's the best thing to wear in the summer. It completely just shades me, and it's like I feel like it's like a military tactical bucket hat, and it
I think it's called a
it's got a
boonie, a
long
boonie hat.
boonie. Thank you. Yeah, it's a boonie, but it's got
We love it.
a fish logo, and I paid $25-$30 for it, and honestly, every summer I'm wearing this at a show. It's really hot and really bright outside. It's fantastic. But no, that's the great thing. That's why I really, wish Richmond was more in tuned with some of these artists. Like Dave
Hmm.
Matthews gonna sell well. Jason Isbell is gonna sell well. Those guys are great. They really had a chance though to get more of these other younger rock acts. Like I just don't understand all these older artists. I guess they're just trying to make money right off the bat. Like Boys to
Yep.
Men, they got some good songs. I just coming into the Richmond Amphitheater, it's like, damn, I could see them at the Altria Theater or something like that, where I think the Altria is about 3,500, 4,000 people. It's a capacity. The amphitheater in Richmond's 7,000 and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it's like
And
7,500.
yeah, and then they booked Rick Springfield. He's got good music. I'm not trying to hate. John Cafferty's great. It's just these guys are old. Be straight
No,
up,
you're right. They're trying to squeeze the lemonade right now. I mean,
They booked
you got to
Styx.
pay for the lemonade stand, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
Styx is one of
yeah,
my favorite classic rock groups of all, ever. I love Styx. It just like you know, I saw them in 2016 or 17,
yeah.
and it's just like, do I need to see them again? You can go on YouTube and find them in their prime, good quality.
Right. Yeah. No, that's totally true, especially with the rise of media. That's what it takes for me, like a good performance. I mean, it really is. It's a performance, right? That sets a band apart for me. I love bands that are good live. You know what I mean? Like that
Hmm.
just it's a different level of music. The fact that you can do that in front of a crowd of X number of people and not in a recording studio, by yourself or with your buddies. It's just so much more impressive to me. Not to say like the guys that then can create that kind of stuff, in house or whatever without seeing the light of day. Still impressive. It still, takes an insane amount of skill and it's still incredibly powerful music in itself. But there's nothing like a good guitarist, man. There's nothing like a good guitarist on stage. That's my favorite.
Oh, dude, for sure. And you know, you were asking me about like where to see, like what's the best venue to see these bands. Honestly, avoid the amphitheater. Go to the Camel, the Broadberry. The Broadberry is very boring, but they get a lot of acts that I feel like are really in tune with Richmond.
Yes.
For example, I saw this band that I had no idea about, but my friend Cam Carroll and Michael Chisholm, they
Hmm.
recommended, me to go see them, and the tickets sold out like that. Like when they first went on public, they sold out
Yeah.
like that. It was really quick. And seeing them, they're an alternative rock band, but I felt like
We love
the
it.
lead frontman was a woman, and just a perfect Richmond group. Honestly, I can't explain the sound. It's like slower alternative rock sound.
Sure.
Um, she has a beautiful voice, obviously. I can't remember her name, the front woman, but just like I feel like the Broadberry, Camel, even the National, for some of these acts, see really you get to see really good bands, but also they're more intimate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the problem, and that's the problem with the amphitheater too. Is just like I said, I'm complaining about them booking these older acts, but like also they have a huge fan base, so they know
Right.
they're gonna sell good enough tickets for that, compared to like
Right.
some other artists that I would prefer them to book.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. They're going to sell to the masses, right? Again, they need to make money.
Yeah, right off the bat,
Um,
it's brand new
right.
amphitheater.
Right. But like the Richmond music scene, I feel like is historic. I feel like there's a lot of crazy artists that have come out of here and some crazy musical talent. There's a
Lamb
lot of
of
places
God,
to see it.
War.
Yeah, Guar
Those
Bar.
are
I
great
still have yet to
Richmond.
be there.
It's such a
So if you have to
tiny
go.
little spot. I think it's in the Jackson Davis area.
Yeah, I think
I
you're
think that's what
right.
it's
They
called.
so I followed RVA Chess recently on Instagram, and they play there every Monday or something like that. So got to go
There, yeah,
out to a
music. I
chess
didn't
event.
even had no idea. Had no idea that. That's funny though. Guar Bar is a cool little spot. I've been there a few times.
Yeah, definitely. Like Richmond has a lot of things like that to offer, very unique stuff that I still haven't found my way into yet.
Mm,
There's a lot of good breeze, a lot of good food. Like, man, it's an awesome city.
mm-hmm. It takes, and also, I mean, it helps being in the South where we have really good cooking. You know, I'm biased towards or East Coast cooking and Southern cooking in general,
Yes.
but they have really good food, and you know, I will say that you can go to some of these other venues. Like I hadn't even mentioned Cobra Cabana or
Hmm.
anything like that. Now that I feel like epitomizes the Richmond music scene. They have a lot of these hardcore punk bands
Yeah.
come by and they have a tiny little back area, but they have like a big enough stage, and if you go on their Instagram, they take pictures and they'll post them up. And some of these bands they get are just so loud, and it's just it's actually an incredible experience. If you've never seen a show there, you can go get a ticket the day of, just walk on in and
Right.
just like feel the
Right.
vibe. It's actually now that's another really good Richmond experience.
Nice. We love it. I've not been there. So any final recommendations before we wrap it up here and we get you in the studio for the next one?
Oh, yeah, just honestly
Yeah, give me a
support as
couple.
much
Yeah.
just so just support all Richmond, I'm going to be talking about music again. Support all Richmond music honestly whenever you can if you got free time. I try to, I live out here in Hanover. I try to do it as much as possible. I have only missed one big red show or two big red shows, since they've been playing I try to go to every big red and the Cowboy Killer show, Vincent's band. And I've seen, like I talked about Illiterate Light earlier. I've seen them 8 or 9 times. They're great. Um, like I said, just support RVA music. The arts are beautiful, and I feel like, Richmond is like known. It should be known for music. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's so important here, and I think it brings collectives and people together, much like,
I've met
athletic
many people.
teams.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
And
very good
also concerts
social
are
place.
and it's just such a good it's all I've always enjoyed concerts. Like it's not a sports game where I get pissed off because the team isn't doing what I want it to do. It's like a concert. I know what I'm going to. The bands are always incredible, and you get 100% worth of your money,
Right.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
absolutely.
There's
Absolutely.
not been one show where I've gone to where there is one concert that I didn't like at the Broadberry, but that's just because the sound was weird and that can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And what'd you say earlier? 50 shows minimum a year-ish. Yeah, and for
Yeah,
one bad show
minimum.
over the last 3 or 4 years, come on, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that happened in 2021 or 2022, so it's like I can't, there's really nothing to hate, honestly, about the Richmond music scene except, you get some annoying chompers. There, people that talk during the show. That's the only
Yes.
that's honestly the other worst thing that can happen, but you can tell people to shut up or, people are usually respectful, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like it's just the same principle as the golden rule or whatever. Like I think majority of people are akin to that and they believe in treating others with respect and dignity and like,
That's all it is.
we're all just people, man. We're all just skeletons and giant blobs of skin leading different lives, right? Like but in a lot of cases we're leading the
Meat
same
bags
life,
walking
right?
around, exactly.
Right. Yeah. We're just trying to make money to survive and do the things that we love to do and support our loved ones, our relationships, and, others
Yeah.
in our lives the way we can.
And
Right. Like,
not judge my bank account on how much money I spend on concerts.
yeah, exactly. It's great. Like, that kind of pisses me off too, because, like, it shouldn't be so expensive to go see these shows, but it has to be from the artist standpoint, or else they wouldn't make any money.
Yeah,
It
no,
has to be
seriously.
from the venue standpoint because
You
they wouldn't make any
yes.
money. They're being controlled by, the larger idiots at state
Yeah,
at large, right?
mainstream and streaming music, honestly, it's ruined things.
It has.
It
It
has ruined
really
things
has.
because artists barely make money off of Spotify. Like I say, barely make money, but that's honestly generous. They don't make any money
Yeah.
from Spotify unless you have about 500,000 or more listeners
Yep.
a month. You're not making that much.
Yeah, because it's like 0.00000003
Yeah, and then you look
cents
at the
per
other
play.
streaming sites like Apple Music, like people tell you, "Oh, go on Apple Music. It's or Amazon Music. It's they pay more to the artists." And it's like, "Well, they don't even pay that much more." So there's not even a difference. I will say though, Spotify has just been amazing. I've discovered that's also been huge in
Yeah.
my, and just loving music. Just easily, I'm able to find music from the 50s to now,
Yep.
like at an instant. It's
Yep.
really been incredible. But I also wanted to say, I forgot to say, support local music, but also you got to buy tickets to the shows. You got to buy merch too. That's
Yeah.
how they make their money.
Yep.
Ticket sales and merch sales.
Yep. Yep. And the merch is sometimes, for those that are like really artistic and have fun, what can I say? Not like similes or metaphors, but like fun art and designs and stuff like that. I'm always a sucker for it too. Like a good t-shirt. I love a good t-shirt, man.
Also,
Like,
Richmond is. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but
no, no,
I
no.
have to include this. Richmond is
Absolutely.
like one of, I think maybe 8 or 9 cities in America, in the entire country, that doesn't take any percentage of merchandise sales. Isn't that
Really?
insane? There's
That
so
is.
many cities that take percent, like, I'm assuming like Houston, Atlanta. Atlanta actually may be in that boat of where they don't take any merchandise sales, but you can look it up. It's actually ridiculous how many cities and um towns take money from artist merchandise sales. It's like I just have never understood that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides
It's
greed.
It's yeah, yeah. Well, I mean that is what it is, unfortunately, and just as easily as I talk about the large masses that are super nice people and just want what's best for others, there's also evil people and people that are greedy and take advantage of other people, and that's the
Oh,
problem.
there's a lot of those in the music business.
Yeah, 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 and it sucks. It sucks for the people that just want to create. I mean, it's art, bro. Like everybody should be able to enjoy it. It shouldn't be controlled by these few record labels. I mean, that's a whole other conversation that we can get into next time. I feel like there's probably thousands of artists that were screwed over by record labels throughout the past couple decades, from making any
Years,
money or producing any music.
years.
Right, right. So
It's funny how you're able to. It's easier to get your like music out nowadays and to get popular, but like I don't know. I feel like it's still just as hard to make money
absolutely,
as
which
it was
sucks.
in the 50s and 60s.
Which sucks because we want to celebrate the people that are creating the music, right? And like who's getting paid? Oh, it's the managers, it's the agents, right?
Hmm.
It's all these people that are setting up the deals. Which, like, to be respectful to them, of course, like that's a talented and hard profession, right? Like we wouldn't get anywhere without those people, but they can much more easily take advantage of these artists, and it sucks, man.
Oh
So,
yeah, the record executives, they put deadlines. They put you got to have this many songs. Sometimes they tell them what
right.
can include in their song. I just think it's crazy. Yeah, there's the artistic freedom is still there for in a sense, but also, as you get big, it's not there.
Right. Yeah, it sucks. We limit the extension of our talent sometimes by various means and methods. And it's sad, man. It really is. Like, especially for something like music, like I said probably 50 times, it's an art form. It's something that needs to be expressed by people. Like it's so that's why it's so gratifying to go to a good show, like especially if it's not these pop songs on the radio that have been ghost written by a group of 38 people and chat
Yeah, right.
GPT to become popular, right? It's like if it comes from the soul or the heart of the artist or the singer or the guitarist, whoever wrote that song, if they're up on the stage performing it, it means so much more. So, and I think we get a lot of that in Richmond.
Yeah, man, it's actually funny that you mentioned all these ghost writers. Well, not these aren't even ghost writers, but did you this is a crazy fact that I learned. Did you hear how many writers Cowboy Carter had
No. How
on the
many?
album? 104.
104? How many songs
104.
is it?
Dude, I mean, I have so I've listened to some of the album and it's not as there's a lot of these people claiming it. I mean, saying it's not country. There's some songs that I think are country, but also there's some like more pop sounding songs
Sure.
in there. That being said, I'm not even trying to like diss Cowboy Carter because it won, I think, was it country album of the year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just like, but 104 writers? What the fuck?
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy.
not that's like not normal.
No, not at all. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough, and like it was successful, wasn't it? It
Very
won
successful.
awards. Sold a lot of copies, all that stuff, and like in that regard, it's a success. Like
It's being streamed a
it's
lot where it's
impressive.
actually worth
Right,
being on Spotify, you know? You're actually making money from Spotify.
right, right, right.
She's
I don't
got
know,
about
man.
15 million, 20 million listeners a month.
Right. I mean, you're pulling in
Probably
money
more?
at that point. Oh yeah,
Yeah, she probably has more
probably,
than that, honestly.
probably. Yeah, but man, back to the roots. Support Richmond music. I think that's gonna about wrap it up for me. I got to eat dinner, get ready to go for work tomorrow. I've got a bachelor trip this weekend, so looking
Oh,
forward to that.
shoot.
But man, really appreciate having you on here. This was a fantastic conversation. Any last comments or anything before we get rolling here?
No, just thank you for allowing me to be on the show, and I can't wait for the next time when you have the studio set up. I would love to discuss more, get some Lego Star Wars in.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. Plan is for 4 microphones, so we'll have 4 chairs, 4 mics, be
Mm-hmm.
able to host a crew, just get silly, have a fun time. So yeah, man, really appreciate you taking the time out of your night to do this with me. I really do, man.
It was
It was
it
awesome.
was fun. I love it. I love chatting.
Good, man. Good. I'm glad. Like that's usually the reaction I get out of people at the end, but you never know. I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite things is conversation with things that people enjoy or are passionate about, and I think we share a lot of those same things, man. So it was a pleasure. It really was.
Absolutely, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So everybody out there that has listened this far all the way to the very end, thank you guys. Really, really means a lot to me. A lot goes into making these episodes, not just myself and editing, but the people too. They take 2 hours out of their night to come and be a guest on my lowly slanted attic experience podcast. So we always appreciate somebody like Cabell, awesome guest, fantastic storyteller, very involved in the Richmond community. So if you guys have made it this far, make sure to check out all of our social media. You can find us at Slanted Attic, slantedattic.com, coming soon, maybe by the time this episode is released, and then the Slanted Attic experience on all your podcast platforms. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.